Matthew, stall.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to our wonderful, wonderful bi-weekly Sunday campaign, Frontiers of Eberron, headed by that guy over there who just told me to stall. His name, Michael San Gregorio. Out there on the interwebs, you can find him everywhere. Watch everything that this man does because it's fantastic, which you're about to find out this evening. And I am also part of this wonderful cast. Tonight I will be playing Silas Hayden, as I so aptly learned fits here, artifice sorcerer of the group. And
there we go. Now I got it.
It's
because somebody decided to join at the last second.
It was me. I'm sorry. It's not me.
It's all right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Frontiers of Eberron, another exciting chapter where I promise I am not going to put the fear of time travel into my players' hearts once again.
Yes.
It's great. Do it more.
If you were able to follow that episode last week, 2 weeks ago, good on you. Lots of crazy shenanigans involved in that. But we are all here once again for another tale. Matt, you already introduced yourself, so Taylor, you go next.
Hello, my name is Taylor, also known as Nerdy Pinup Girl on most social media platforms, mainly active on TikTok and Instagram. If you like cosplays, special effects makeup, smashable monsters, all that fun stuff, please feel free to follow me. I am currently doing a 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse series, if you want to check that out. But I am today playing the wonderful and amazing Avara, the Witch of Wormwatch, with just watching her whole world burn down. It's great. It'll buff out, hopefully.
Yeah, you can buff that out. That's fine. Hi, Ren. How are you?
Hello, good morning. It's 2:46
Yes.
p.m. I'm Ren. You can find me at MaskRen on TikTok, where I cosplay sometimes. Yes. Hi.
We always appreciate the fact that our friends overseas and around the other sides of the world join us for these wonderful adventures. Speaking the other side of the world, hi.
Hi. Hey guys, I'm Dia. I play formerly Sister, now better known as just Mirashana, our divine soul sorcerer, recently turned vengeance. So she's fun. You can find me over on cause and all social media. I've also very recently been posting cosplay videos of Mirashana, so you can check that out on my page.
They have been divine, to say the least. And there have been a few duets as well between Mirashana and Avara, which have just come out wonderfully.
I'm so angry.
Yeah, they muted it. I'm thinking about finding just another sound that's kind of sad to just go over it and then just put captions. But yeah, it stinks.
The transgressions.
And our resident Feywild rabbit boy.
Hi, I'm a rabbit boy known as Tarzan. Daddy Tarzan 82855 on all social media platforms. I am Tarzan of the Daddy of Variety, and I just got back from Disney World, and I am dead.
Nice.
All
right. Well, with that, we are getting ready now for our next adventure, venturing through the frontiers of Eberron, because as we all know, now is the time to be diced. Let's ride. That was the wrong one. You've been given the night to yourselves, which we will count as a long rest. And you are getting ready for a step into the beyond, into something unknown, to something far beyond the grasp of your understanding. In what was seen as a last-ditch effort to save the town, as explained by now your primary source of engagement with this situation, former head of the Institute, Clinton Hiltwick, who had only just recently revealed himself to be an exiled ancient red dragon from the continent of Arganessen. He explained during his reveal that he was the Worm Watcher, the original of which the town had been named after it was settled, upon his own suggestion, slyly and coercedly. But its true intention was to be observant of the Dragon Watch Isles to the south, and to keep watch over Dragonborns that were living there and perhaps are settling in these new homesteads in the nation of Kabara. But instead had been forced to hide his existence and act as a overseer of what he realized was dangerous ancient technology trying to be adapted by those who would come into the town and make poor use of it. Confiding in different townspeople who were mainstays in Wormwatch. Keeping an eye on all of them and their abilities, and specifically the things that they were best at, whether it was technology, nature, the divine, the fae, or the supernatural. All of which you all embody and represent. Ivara, please roll a wisdom saving throw
What?
as you sleep.
God damn it. It's a 9.
You drift off and you recall your past. Moments that you've lived, moments that you've hoped to keep far behind you. But now you see these images begin to blur together, as if you were just looking at fading shadows. But the pain and the memories of those moments lingers. You are lost in these thoughts. Could you please roll a d6?
This is making me nervous, Michael. That is a 4.
Okay. You awake in a cold sweat. And you don't feel exhausted. You don't feel overwhelmed or anything. You just, that slight shortness of breath that comes from a shock and reveal when you can't quite tell where the dream ended and the being awake began, and your fog-filled brain just kind of transitions back. Ivara's probably had these moments before. So what does she do to get herself back into sleep?
I would probably say, after waking up in a panic, if anyone is awake, they probably just hear. And she kind of sits for a second, and she just immediately, it's almost kind of like a switch goes off in her head to where it just goes kind of completely nuanced and numb, as she then it almost kind of like going through the stages of grief in a matter of like a few seconds. And as soon as it reaches acceptance, she will just kind of stare dead ahead before she just kind of plops back down on her pillow, and she's just going to stare at the ceiling until sleep decides to come to her again. And
eventually it does.
I will say, to try and put her to sleep, she might just be humming a very slight, soft little lullaby to herself that she used to sing to her daughter years ago. And she would eventually go back to sleep.
Takes about an hour or so, but you are able to eventually calm your mind and bring yourself back to sleep. The next morning, sunrise is what wakes you up through the windows and through the curtains. Usually it is the sound of a rooster from the nearby farms, but they've all but disappeared into whatever void it was that would trapped this town into a moment of safety. The only noise you can hear is the bristling of wind against shutters as you are having taken residence in the shelter above town, having not wanted to keep you in a basement, a sub-layer, for as long as you've been. This kind of ramshackled leftover house, one of the only ones left standing amongst everything, is where you've been able to kind of reside, knowing that it may be the last comfortable sleep you will have in a while because of what's to come. Silas, you awake, and what's the first thing that you would do?
Coffee.
Give me a... I'm going to say you can use your skill proficiencies for this, but I would love for you to give me a kind of, I guess, what would be cooking? We'll go with intelligence. You're going to basically try and make what you can out of what is available. The higher you roll, the better it will taste and the more effective it will be.
Hang on, let me check my features because I want to break this because I know I can. Racial feeds are... Am I using cook's utensils?
Yes.
If we wanted to break it down, then I get to add a D4 to this roll.
Okay.
D20, D4, plus proficiency, which is 4, and intelligence, which is 5, so plus 9. Yeah. That is a dirty 20.
Okay. You scour through cup and find whatever amount of coffee grounds that are left in tin cans that have been ground up, and you do your best, and you are able to at least make one full brewed cup of coffee from the tools you have at your disposal. It's nothing added to it. It is just straight up
Silas
bean
always
juice.
drinks black coffee because nobody ever showed him to do anything different.
Exactly. And what would be a follow-up moment for you in this routine?
he would probably start checking on what I forget the term. It was technically a creation forge that we are using for this task, right? We're hijacking that. Just routine, like your morning safety checklist on it, like all valves.
So you
are
go
where they
back to
should
the
be.
institute. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, we're upstairs. I'm
probably
not
be
going to
the
do that. Probably just go outside then. I'm not going to go that far.
Oh, okay.
We're upstairs.
So that'll be something that is on your mind of what you want to do eventually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here
Yeah,
we go.
and
Well, he's just
it's
going over notes, doing the calculations again and again and again, making sure he doesn't get anything wrong.
it's a very quiet morning. And who else would probably be up this early? You could just raise your hand. Yeah. So the rest of you will eventually, save for maybe Evan, who is probably taking the most time to relax and sleep, will see each other around this dawning time. Sister Mira, could you give me... Oh, formerly Sister Mira. Mirashana, would you mind giving me a religion check?
That is a 25.
It's strangely comforting to have such a stronger connection with your own spirituality at this point after you have let go of what you originally saw as your calling.
Yes.
How does that look in this time? What does that look like now for you?
At the moment, it just seems as if Mira is more at peace with herself. Normally at this time of the morning, her routine is more along the lines of meditation and then prayers and then serving the morning meal. This time she seems subdued, but not in a shy way, just in a content sort of way. She's sitting sort of out in the corner of the room. Her those awake may very gently feel the light brush of another mind against theirs, and it's just not quite detect thoughts. It's Mira seeing how the others are feeling, just quietly observing them with her mechanically just passive inside of 18. Just seeing how everyone else is doing this morning.
I think you're going to get a general vibe of just like... I think you're just going to get a general vibe from everybody of what you used to feel in the mornings when just sensing how the day is going to be, but quieter. So much quieter. As a focus is on everyone, but no one's ready to really talk about what is going to happen later today or whenever it may take place. Holiday Lookfoot, if you could give me an Arcana check.
Well, certainly, good sir. 18 plus 5, 23.
You've been practicing with your wand slinging. Now is a good time as any to find a place that is not going to be dangerous. And you find yourself not too far off from where this building is that you've been staying in. And what kind of little shooting range do you set up for yourself?
So Holiday would set up two different types of challenges for himself: accuracy and an accuracy range, and then a speed range. The speed range is going to be a little more of a closer proximity to him, so he can work on his quick draw and still be able to hit something, as well as The accuracy range would be more of like a 100-meter target that he would use to hone his aim, essentially.
What is the range on your weapon currently?
Max range, 240 feet.
And the amount of damage on a successful hit?
We are level 9. That's going to give me 2 beams, so 20 force damage or 16 frost damage, ice damage, I mean, and then 20 fire damage.
On the... No, but what's the dice count on that? That's what I'm wondering.
Oh, 2d10s,
Okay.
2d8s, and
Right. You... With your Arcana check that you did before, you feel a bit of a stronger connection to your weapon at this time. And you get through the first round no problem of target practice range, and you're like, easy. And then you feel like just... like it's almost like now an extension of yourself. And you don't know where this extra manifestation of power is coming from. But you feel like there's something now that you might be able to do when you focus a little harder. When that time comes, we'll find out what that may mean.
I like it.
Evan. We just cut to a snoring druid.
She's like,
Yeah.
she's
Cuddled with
snoring with him.
her sheep. Yep.
Listen, Evan is the soft, pillowy body of Tessame right now. Like, she's normally she's up like fairly early, but the stress level has been very high until right now, and so she's just absorbing all of this soft comfort as much as possible. Like, I'm pretty sure
It is so comfortable. It is probably one of the most stress-free sleeps you've had since this whole ordeal began. And you take the time to converse and just get back in touch with the one creature that you feel the most comfortable talking to. And for Tessame, it's like no time passed at all. You just keep trying to figure out what happened, and it will tell you the same thing. He followed you. You were there. She saw you. And then she followed you, and now they're with you.
it's very confusing, but she doesn't want to read into it too deeply right now. Because, like, if you followed me from then what about the time in between? What happened to that time? And it's too complicated. It's too much to think about. That's a problem for after, if there is an after.
So, with all of your senses and skills and time to prepare for whatever, at least just to get through the day, meals made, shared, and prepared, and quiet, polite conversation exchanged in a small talk manner, because you haven't had that. You haven't had that in so long. It's a sense of trying to be normal. The discussions on the most innocuous things that wouldn't matter otherwise compared to the situation you're in. but it's a moment to really get in touch with the roots of you being part of this town. And at that point, Sheriff Brass shows up, greets you all, and looks at all of you and just says, I don't know what our expectations are for any of this. I certainly don't know what's going to happen, but I trust y'all are gonna fix it.
Well, we're gonna do that, darling, or we're gonna die trying. Seems that's really the only options we got here right now.
I'd prefer you didn't.
I'm just being honest. You know that.
And he takes a moment to just kind of tip his hat in polite regard and goes over not too far from where this house is, of where the sheriff's station is, and takes a familiar stance of sitting on the porch of it, feet up onto the railing, lowers his hat and just tries to keep an idea of what used to be. Clinton Hildwick at this point now has gotten up. He's putting on his vest as he is walking out, and he sees all of you. Good morning, y'all. I guess this is this is it, huh? This is what we're doing.
Seems so.
All right. Let's get our wits about us and head on down. We'll go over what we need to and see what happens next. And he kind of just gives a polite nod and walks his way to the Institute Hall, down into where you've all been training and talking and figuring all of this mess out.
Evan is going to sidle up to Clinton just a bit. Mr. Hiltwick, sir.
Clinton is fine. You can call me Clinton.
Okay. Clinton, just for my own knowledge, in case this doesn't work, what's the next course of action?
I would love to tell you that there is a plan B.
All or nothing.
We don't have that luxury.
All right.
It has to work. And I have a theory that some of it did, based on what we've went through yesterday. But I can't pay no mind to that, because that's going to make a whole mess of things if we try to overthink. And lately I've been discovering overthinking almost was my downfall. I ain't gonna let it happen again.
That's all fine and good. I'm gonna leave it to y'all, people of extensive arcane knowledge, mostly.
And I'm gonna say to you, forget all that and trust your instincts. Go with your gut feeling. What feels right to do, I feel like y'all will know. So, do that. He
Okay.
starts walking down. And he brings you eventually all down to that lower chamber where he shows essentially now what he had been working on to get going. And
Stargate.
what you see is a repurposed and now upright creation forge that seems to have like this electrified liquid metal pool in the center that is just amorphously moving and kind of like, if you've ever seen that magnetic non-Newtonian fluid liquid that can be moved with like a magnet and stuff, it's very much in that similar style, but just one big circle of it. The energy that's arcing off of it, you can feel like the static on your skin. And Holiday, can you give me a not a you know what? Well, it'll be a very low DC con saving throw. Yes, I can see.
Well, I'm upset to say that I rolled a nat 20 on this.
What was it?
I rolled a nat 20 for 22.
Okay. I will continue. Don't worry, I turned my camera off. It's okay.
Burned my damn nat 20.
It's my
Yeah,
wife got
we're
embarrassed
fine.
and she showed up just a little bit. It's fine.
He'll buff out.
You're okay. All right. Nat 20. Yeah, you catch that your fur is going to like stick up on its end, so you start like just like holding it down and just are able to like not let the static just, you know, catch you. But you do start to resemble a bit more of a puffball than you do a
Oh, you
slicker
son of a
rabbit.
bitch. I love it.
If I may say,
But it's
this
only
hair is always
slightly.
standing on its feet.
Starting to look like a
Ah,
Volteon from
boo.
Pokemon.
Oh, I love it. That's hilarious.
Holiday evolves too.
Silas, what are you thinking as you see this machine?
He's geared up, and probably when we got down there, like he had just punched in for work, he just immediately goes right over to it, and like I said earlier, just starts checking, you know, the welds, starts checking seals and valves and gauges and everything that he's supposed to, looks for any sort of cracks or defects, anything that could potentially make this go wrong at all.
Give me an investigation check if you don't mind.
Before I do that, because I never have a chance to do this, I am going to take the defunct badge that I have as a deputy of the Wormwatch, which Silas has infused as a medal of wit, and touch it to his head so that he has advantage on all intelligence-based checks and saving throws.
Okay.
You said investigation, or
Yeah, you can do that with advantage.
okay? Can I persuade you into having this being a Tinker's Tools check?
No.
Damn it!
I'm giving
want
you
the
all enough
D4.
as it is.
I want the D4, so I'm gonna cast guidance.
There you go.
I always forget that.
Oh, anyways, I started blasting.
I feel like in this situation, so anyways, I started blessing. But yeah.
Mr. San Gregorio, 29.
Fuck!
You go over, around, and through this thing as close as you can get without even hopefully touching the portal at all, and you're and you see that this thing has been, as much as the tech is, you know, retroactively has been like refitted, you don't spot any flaws.
Just after he completes his once around, he's gonna kind of backtrack to the rest of the party, stand next to Clinton, and just kind of look over it and just be like, "All right, I ain't getting any better."
So, Clinton just kind of, takes a moment to look at all of you, and he's kind of like just distracted with everything, but he's just, so if this works, which I'm pretty sure it will, 99.9% sure it's going to work. You are going to be stepping through there, and what will be on the other side is the town, frozen in that moment when I activated it the first time. And then what you're going to see, that I don't rightly know. But if it's what I think happened over in the Mournlands, there's no real simple way of saying it other than you're going to see what are going to look like ghosts of people that you know and who have probably ever been in our town. It's not the afterlife, as it were. It's more of echoes, all of the time that is passed in our town. But hopefully those that were trapped in that one moment are going to be more corporeal. You know what I mean? They'll be able to probably get in touch with them. I have a feeling the more likely that they are able to be reached out to, they may have more of a connection to Eleanor. Because she is going to be the one who can probably move around that pocket. Not the strongest, but certainly easier than the rest. If you can stop her, however possible it may be, then you're going to be able to allow everyone to come back safely. Now, here's where it gets tricky. What we experienced yesterday means that time is going to dilate and be different. What will pass as a minute here will be 60 days in there. 1 day per second. So that's the amount of time that you're going to have to stop whatever is going on, to to stop that threat that's in there. Save as many people as you can, because when that minute is up, I'm pulling you back.
There's no time like the present. Shall we do this, folks?
Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
With that, Holiday will draw his wand and trace it up across his chest and cast mage armor on himself for the moment.
Ivara will also do the same as well, except she's just going to touch her pendant on her around her neck and cast mage armor as well.
Silas
Anyone else
will.
doing some last minute casting?
Oh, you betcha. Silas will turn to the group, looking, basically go by the group one by one and kind of give them all a pat on the shoulder with the wand. As how many people? Wait, how many people are going? A total of 6, because we have Brass with us.
Oh, Brass didn't show up. He stayed at the sheriff's office.
Brass is staying behind.
Just
so
the
it's
5 of you.
5. Okay, it'll still take 2 castings. First level aid, so everybody's maximum HP is increased by 5.
Smash.
Okay.
Smash. Question: if we cast a spell that lasts for a certain duration of time in this plane, will that be affected length of time once we go through the portal? For example, a 10-minute spell now, is that still going to be a 10-minute spell, but in the time warp that we walk into?
It will be expedited. So essentially, any casting that is over a minute will now become instantaneous.
No, as in the length of the spell lasts 10 minutes itself, not as a ritual.
If the length of the spell, not the casting. Okay. I guess we'll find out.
Okay. In that case, Mira is going to cast Protection from Evil and Good on herself.
Okay. If you could read what that spell does again, just for.
Concentration up to 10 minutes. Until this spell ends, one willing creature you touch herself is protected against certain types of creatures, aberrations, celestial elementals, fae, fiends, and undead. The protection grants several benefits. Creature of those types have disadvantage on attack rolls against the target. The target also can't be charmed, frightened, or possessed by them. If the target is already charmed, frightened, or possessed by such a creature, the target has advantage on any new saving throws against the relevant effect.
So I'm going to say that the concentration break is going to be harder for them to do to you once you pass through there. In terms of how long that will last, well, we will find out. Anyone else doing anything? Evan, you doing any prep beforehand? Anything you want to cast to anyone or yourself? And are you bringing Tessa May with you?
Am I? Fuck. I'm not bringing my sheep. You must be insane. See, I was considering casting freedom of movement, but the time is all wibbly wobbly, and I don't know how long it'll last. You know, I will just cast Long Strider on myself, because that should last an hour. That'll increase my speed by 10. And we'll see how long that 10 lasts. I feel like Mira could benefit from freedom of movement, though.
So, who steps through first?
Probably Holiday.
Okay.
Oh, wish me luck. So you on the
Evan
other
will
side?
say. Evan will say in Sylvan, "Good luck, Rabbit Man."
I have questions for you later about how you know that.
Following by one by one, the rest of you take the lead from Holiday. Clinton gives you, Silas, one last nod and a salute, as if to say good luck.
I return the salute, wand in hand, just give him a nod. This works good because I was going to say Silas would probably be the last one through.
You all feel the strange wash of energy cascade over you as you are pulled through to the other side. There have been hypothetical theories about what happened in the Mournlands as the result of the use of the bulwark. What is beyond those gray mists that surround the former area that was once known as the Nation of Sire? You find out immediately as you now see a dark mirrored image of your town, warped and hazy and filled and surrounded by that gray mist that in some ways feels like it takes the form and shape of faces in the distance. Like the reflections of gods peering down upon their creations. I need everybody to give me a Constitution saving throw, please. As you've now passed through to the other side.
That's an 18.
Oh,
18 for me as well.
ignore that. That was just straight Constitution.
21.
Oh, actually, it's the same. I'm gonna spend grit and add a
Okay.
D4.
You said Constitution. Yeah, that would be a 12.
Ooh.
Don't let Silas make saving throws.
Okay. It's not going to cost you too much.
Bless you.
Didn't you cast Bless on yourself?
We don't have.
Yeah.
That was guidance.
Guidance, not bless. I do not have bless in this campaign. I'm not a holy roller.
You're going to take 8 points of psychic damage from your brain kind of adjusting to the feeling that you had passing through that portal, because your prior experience with Creation Forge exposure having you broughting you almost to enfeeblement and madness still had some lingering PTSD, as it were.
Yeah, last person through the portal, Silas just kind of walks and just kind of grits his teeth at it. Kind of holds his left
And with
eye
a
closed for
12,
little
it
bit.
really feels like just a very sharp migraine that's just kind of piercing into your skull for just enough time for it to be painful, but then it fades. And when your
Pretty much
eyes
just
finally
like-
do open, you see that.
With
Are you
that,
alright, Silas?
Yeah, I didn't have enough coffee this morning, I don't think.
all right,
Right.
eyes up. Keep your wits about you. With
Mira
that,
is going to just put a hand on Silas's shoulder and just give him a pat. And as she does, cast Lay on Hands to restore 8 hit points for you.
Aww.
I'll
You look a
take
bit
it.
pale.
Evan, with a 14 as well, you immediately throw up. from the feeling.
Oh no, Ivara will go over and check on Evan, immediately kind of pulling out like a small pack of like herbs and just hand it to her wrapped in a handkerchief and goes, "Sniff on this for a bit, darling. It'll help ease with the queasiness."
Thank you, Isvar.
Seems like your brain got whiplash, honey. Make sure you just, if you gotta take a seat for a moment, do so. We don't need you puking again.
It was not a
y'all
natural
first-
sensation.
Oh, traveling like that ain't
time
natural at
passing
all.
through. It's y'all first time passing through portals.
No.
Is this your first time passing through portal? Shut the fuck up, Holiday. Given that Mira is close, and I believe that Mira is the only person who actually uses a physical weapon out of all of us. So I was just gonna be like, hey, let me see that for a second. And I believe that it's a mace that you use predominantly.
Yeah.
Smash.
I have a
I'll pick up the
one-time.
mace.
Your own little shadow heart.
Oh, you're right.
Damn.
The collapsing mace it turns into a little ball that hangs at the waist.
So long as it's not an actual magical weapon, right?
It's not.
Okay. Well, now it
Respect
is, because Silas is going to draw a rune on it with his wand, and I have one free use of magic weapon, so it is a +1 magical mace for an hour.
Nice. Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, Alfie would
Or
have
for
given you the whole
rather
run.
an indeterminate amount of time.
Well, it says an hour. Michael, you tell me when it's up. Speaking of things that are going to be around for an hour, Silas has like a little metal pauldron on his shoulder. He's going to give that 2 taps and awaken his Eldritch Cannon.
Smash.
Excellent. And kind of like a wisp of magical energy that forms into a solidified gun. Almost like a eldritch shoulder cannon from Predator, but much more steampunk distinct.
I will add, I am bringing it in the protector mode.
Yeah.
So it's not quite a gun yet, but it can be very easily.
Danger, Silas Hayden. Danger.
Taylor's just all of the early like 80s sci-fi references tonight.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. I love it.
My childhood is like screaming right now. I love it, Michael. I love it.
I would love everyone to give me a perception check, please.
25.
Ooh.
19.
16.
19.
25.
Whoa. Okay. Our
Perceptive.
spiritually inclined individuals of the party. You are going to get the strongest sense and clearest vision of what is surrounding you at this time. And much like it was described, echoes and shadows. What others would describe as ghosts. You see the form and shape of individuals, and you can kind of determine from the way that they are either more translucent or slowly fading in and out, which are from your present time, which are the most visible of people you can see and remember from your town. And the others, the unfamiliar faces, are even wearing older clothing, and some from civilizations that were probably there that predate the town's existence. You know, almost a primordial era. Those are the faintest of shadows and whispers of life. But what really resonates is just kind of panning noise from side to side and around you, like a strange like stereo effect where it's like different levels are just going on and off. But you're able to attune and concentrate more, especially with those 25s. And all of a sudden the town kind of resembles and feels, at least at an audio level, what it was like when it was full. So at this point, you will have advantage then on survival checks to guide yourselves.
Smash.
So that will be for you, Evan, and for you, Mira. The
Holiday
rest
will
of
give
you,
us.
though, don't see this.
Holiday will give his lucky coin one more little flip or pocketing it. Ignite his cigarette, draw both wand slingers. Let's get to business, shall we?
Eberron's just gonna take a deep breath, just kind of looking at this eerie image before her, before she just kind of takes a very deep breath, and she starts stepping forward, and she goes, "Well, guess the only place now to go is forward."
And forward you do. You take your steps into town. Or at least this ghostly reflection of the town you once knew so prominently. And that's where we're going to take our first break.
Damn it.
Our only break, rather. When we come back, the further exploration of Wormwatch on the other side. And welcome back. Tarzan, tell us what we've got going on in the upcoming episodes of other 2B Dice programs.
Hi, that's me, Tarzan. If you would like to tune in into our other programs, we have for you a brand new series, The Edge of the Empire Star Wars role-playing game, every Tuesday at 8:30 Mountain Standard Time. You can also find our other programs, Dimensional Dial of Dr. Diego and Tales of Arden, on those same times, usually. Around those times. Life happens. And you can check them all out on our YouTube at 2B Dice Adventures. Check us out. Like and subscribe.
Fantastic. I think there was one that was left out that you know the title of perfectly.
No, he
Dimensional
said
Dial.
it and did get it wrong. Even though he didn't try to get it wrong this time.
And
Dimensional Dial.
that
of
one
Dr.
would be
Diego.
what, Matt?
It is the dimensional dial of Dr. Diago, not Diego. This is
Debatable.
not the dimensional dial of Go Diego Go.
That's what you think.
Tarzan's just like, I am the DM now.
The Amazing Adventures of Dr. M. Night Shyamalan.
This is Clucky's adventure.
We
now.
kid, but we do love it, as it is the longest running 2B Diced campaign on our channels.
Mhm.
Speaking of continuing adventures, happy to announce that as of this moment, there will be a season 3 of Frontiers of Eberron.
Shut the front door.
And whenever this arc does decide to meet its conclusion, we will be returning to this neck of the woods in terms of the nation of Kubara, and we will be time jumping about 5 years into the timeline that has been set here. So we may see some older versions of previous characters, or we may see some new people roll up and make some brand new frontier people. So keep an eye on that as we continue. No official plans as of yet, but Dia in our chat is like freaking the F out right now.
Hell yeah,
all
brother.
right. So with Evan and Mira kind of taking the lead with being able to navigate through the sensory overload that has become like this moment in time of the town, what are the rest of the party kind of doing to acclimate their senses?
Ivara will cast Summon Familiar and have Bartholomew pretty much fly above them to keep a lookout for anything ahead that we may not be able to see from our position on the ground.
Okay. And yeah, you eventually, it's going to take some time, but you will be able to have to concentrate a bit harder, but you acclimate your arcane senses to this realm of something that feels familiar, but you can't quite put your finger on it. Give me an Arcana check at advantage, please, if you don't mind.
Ooh. 17. And a nat 1, so a 17 plus 5 for a 22.
That'll do it. The strongest thing that you sense is the chaos magic, very similar to your own. But then you also feel it unnaturally combining with traces of necromancy.
Yeah, I'm guessing this
That
is
is the
not
thing
normal.
that like pings your radar, as it were.
Is it something that's like not natural in like this sort of
These two, it's just, if it's like a sour taste in your mouth of the way that it just, you can feel it being combined by whatever magic this resulted in, and then what was tainted by it by House Vol.
I will say Yvara feeling just this uneasiness, and I will say she kind of, for a moment while she's taking this in, exactly what this feeling is, she like almost slows down for a second and like then continues walking and goes, the magic around here, it's almost like someone poisoned the watering hole. I have never felt magic like this before. It's unnatural. It's almost makes me, it feels wrong. It feels so wrong. Does it seem overwhelming at all?
Nothing you can't handle, especially with that 22.
Okay.
If it were low enough, you probably would have had to brace yourself. But yeah, Evan, what were you about to say something?
I was going to ask, when we emerged out of the portal, did we come out at like the Institute or just a completely different part of like how far are we from?
Yeah, you basically are kind of at the point of you're just outside of the entrance of the Institute, as it were.
Okay.
Looking out at the town. And what you observe a lot as well is that the town is intact. It is built up. It looks like it's in pristine condition, save for the kind of like strange reflective cloud that is shimmering with magic surrounding the entire town. Like I said, like it does very much look like the painting here, where it's just hazy and it feels just off. But every structure there is intact as it once was.
So while we are here and still close together, I'm going to just gesture to me, and I'm going to cast Pass Without a Trace on us.
Okay. So let's have then everybody kind of roll. We'll have everybody roll stealth, and then you can add 10 to it. And this is not like you're trying to hide from anyone necessarily. This is more of just being very careful. And this is stealth in the sense of being incognito, as it were, and not quite trying to blend in, just more of like really being careful of where you go and how you step through this area.
I need to roll these dice more often. I just rolled another nat 20.
Will
Damn, that's a
will I
30.
also need to roll stealth for Bartholomew?
Sure. Add 10
As long as he's within 30.
Yeah, he's gonna stay close.
33.
Thank God you passed without a trace. That's an 18.
22.
What do you
Maybe.
think that looks like compared to everyone else being on their toes? What is Silas's approach now, even though he is still, silent, as it were? What's the difference in your approach versus everyone else that might make you stand out a bit more?
He knows he's not the scout of the group. He knows he's not, the front liner. He knows he's not any of these positions that like he should really be worried about. He's less concerned about the surroundings because he knows other people are going to be having that taken care of. He's more concerned about everybody else. So he's trying to make sure that he's staying close to the group so that, he has a couple spells or abilities that will help people. He's just trying to make sure that like he stay with people so he's in range to do that when he needs to. And I guess
with
that's
everyone
making
else
it
being with everyone else being more careful, though, they're going to be observing the area better than you would, as your focus is purely on them, trying to make sure that everyone stays together. But what everyone else will see is people milling about, they're moving about, and they're acting as if the town is just living. But what's weird is that they seem to almost organically be in a loop where they do one thing, but then they repeat it as they go back to like a reset position just from walking. No conversations are being had. It just feels like they're just all in this kind of continuous motion. And you are moving along with it, but you're not disrupting anything as you've been able to. You rolled that stealth so high on average. But yeah, what's everybody thinking as they're just watching this all occur in front of them?
So this whole event of sorry, you can go ahead.
I was just gonna say, while everybody was huddled up, Holiday would have casted telepathic bond as a ritual to everybody.
And you find that it links instantaneously somehow.
I will say, question, when it comes to these people going throughout their days, does it seem like, considering we've all been in Wormwatch for a while, like aside from Evan, does it seem like just a normal everyday, or does it seem like a particular day, like a holiday, or a day that would have been something different based on everyday life in Wormwatch?
From what you remember of what happened the day that you ended up in the desert, just about before the infamous blood raid occurred, the town was going on as usual. So this feels like the moment that was captured for them to be living in on repeat, or existing in, because it's not quite living.
Are there any faces there that don't look like they fit in, that obviously is putting off the edge of something that like obviously contribute to the buildup of this attack?
Give me an investigation check.
May I have advantage considering Ibarra's paranoid as fuck and she usually spends every single day making sure people are going about their normal fucking days?
In this particular instance, it's going to be a little trickier to determine because of this haze.
That's
but
fair.
a straight roll will probably suffice.
All right, what did
Guidance.
you say it was again?
Investigation.
Investigation. Oh, I love that.
I raise you, Ibarra. Asmira is someone who is more familiar with the intricacies of the mind. Would you allow me to use that action for her? Also, DM. Try and spot discrepancies day to day, or trail of day to day.
I'm gonna let this be strictly Avara's focus for the time being, because Mira, you are in tune with being able to just navigate with Evan as you're kind of leading everybody. So that's where your focus ends up being at the moment. But
Well,
yeah.
it's a 19 plus 3 for a 22.
So what you will notice, you will see the faces of as you're all kind of just walking through the main street of the town, where the general store is, where Doc's medical office is, where the path that leads to the different districts of, like, the Silver District, where more of the well-to-do types that have been permanent residents of this town are, and then back the other on the left-hand side from where you had left, where the more slum area is, and then the coming up to that Market Street area where your business is, Avara, as well. You were watching this kind of like repeated motions of these hazy figures of full faces and everything, but then you do see from the distance, where just on the border of town as you go further up where the mine was, it's where you can see a larger group that seems to always look like it's coming forward, but never quite getting there. They just look like they're in this kind of blurry motion that is almost like an optical illusion, as it were, of it just continuously looks like horses are galloping. And those you recognize as the employees or the bandits that were hired by Eleanor. So literally you are in the moment and you put it together. This was just before the attack.
Ivara's
And
gonna
also you can sense, because of carrying over from your Arcana check, that is the strongest point of necromantic energy that way.
Ivara immediately, like, she's looking dead through the town after taking a moment, just taking in every single face, seeing the regular routine, but almost like seeing a distortion in like the sun as she sees this crowd coming in off the horizon. Her face just darkens as she like raises her hand and just points in that direction. She goes, "Whatever poison is spewing in this damn fucking world, it's coming right from there. Nothing but death is in that direction." And as much as I hate to say it, I think that might be where we need to be going.
All right.
What do we do?
Ivara's gonna start walking. She's gonna just kind of almost like she's making her way through the crowd as she does every day at Eberron.
You know what? Give me another perception check as you do that.
That is a natural 20, good sir.
You follow the feeling, but then you see your girls. You're the ones that you employed. You see them standing milling about at the saloon. And you catch for a moment when you look at them that they make eye contact with you. In a brief glimpse, you catch it. And you sense that in that time that you just saw them, there was some sort of connection where they weren't in the loop. And they saw you in real time that you're experiencing.
Oh, snap. I think Ivara will take a moment, and she's almost is kind of her darkened expression softens again to her more caring face that she puts on, especially towards her girls, and almost a slight bit of sorrow as she just kind of tilts her head and she goes, "I'm gonna get us all out of here. I'm gonna make sure nothing happens to anyone in this damn town. And I know I'm not the only one thinking the same thing." And she just kind of gives them like a nod of assurance, whether they can acknowledge it or not, hoping that this energy, the energy that she gives off, can somehow translate to bring them a bit of comfort in something as chaotic, especially if they've just snapped out of it for a second and now realize they're in this cycle, how horrifying it could be.
I will also say with that nat 20, as you pass by your established business on this main route, and you catch the eyes of your girls, you see the one of them, a single tear runs down her cheek in that moment that she passes you. And there's nothing she can do to wipe it away. Mirashana, you pass by, as you're walking, you pass by the chapel. And you see... Actually, give me a perception check. And I will tell you exactly what you see. If you do well.
15. Or passive 18.
You take a glimpse just by the open door where the stained glass windows are for the side entrance. And you're disturbed for a moment as you don't quite see any semblance of like the interior structure of there. You see more darkness and more shadows, as it were, as if no light source is entering the building as in an odd way. You feel a cold chill pass by you as you stare at this door.
Do I get the impression that the chapel at this stage has been enchanted to maintain that darkness?
You can make this a religion or arcana check.
I will do the same. Let's do Arcana. That's a 17 on Arcana.
You sense overwhelming feeling of death. You have a sense of what it could be. You don't quite know the specific terms for it, and it's not necessarily the afterlife, but it's an energy in there that is not even necromantic at this point. It is just death.
I wouldn't be so quick to consider the chapel hallowed ground anymore. I don't think it has been for a long time now.
What is your passive perception, Mirashana?
18.
You'll hear a calling whisper for you. And it will take you a moment. But the voice you hear sounds familiar. And after a few moments of concentrating, you know exactly who this voice is. The elderly male voice. Elder Whedon Nevelum. Calling out and asking for you.
He wasn't meant to be here at this time, was he? He had gone by then.
You hear no conversational response. Just the repeating of your name as if crying out for beckoning you to help him. And not in a memory or echo of what used to be in your time there. It sounds like the present moment.
Mira is going to cast Divine Sense as a paladin feature, which extends 60 feet to know the location of any celestial fiend or undead within that area that is not behind total cover. And I know which type. I know the presence but not the identity, and I will keep that on as I try and move towards the other's voice.
As you slowly get closer, just to be within reach of your divine sense towards this chapel. And the rest of you are just kind of existing within this slow walk. I would say, Silas, you are observing that Ivara is a bit ahead. Holiday and Evan have kind of kept within your reach. But you do notice that now Mirashana has kind of become almost magnetically closer to the chapel. And you watch as she is just kind of using her abilities that you're familiar with seeing. She's getting closer to this shadowed entrance, side entrance of the chapel. Sister Mira is a hard habit to break, as everyone still calls you that. But you, Mira Shana, you get closer to it. And you would think at this point you might see some semblance of light crack through. But the dark void of a cloud that's in there, and the echoing voice of your once respected elder that you served under at this chapel, kind of still echoing there. I need you to give me a dexterity saving throw to see if you can withstand the shock that happens now.
I was just a moment too late. I was like, next time that Michael says he's going to stop talking, I'm going to tell Mirashana, get back with the group.
Sorry, what
We
was that?
can't hear you.
That was a 14, but if that doesn't make the save, I do have another feature.
It won't.
Okay.
I will tell you what happens, and you can tell me how you react with your other feature.
Okay.
You get closer to it. And out of the cloud, encompassing the entire length and width of the door, is just... it takes the form of a face that reaches out to you and screams out your name in the voice of Elder Whedon before bringing itself back in and shrinking back into the void. And the door then slams shut. You're not going to be frightened, but you are going to stumble back however you can help yourself to make sure you can keep your balance.
Oh, if it's just balance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
if
it's
it's
more
just
of like I wanted to see how far on your ass you were going to get knocked back by being this.
In that case, Mira is assaulted by this visage for all intents and purposes, and as she springs back, she casts Ray of Frost, like almost scratching across herself to project these small icicles as if to repel what would have been an enemy, just entirely instinctual. And in that flurry of movement, she will trip and fall back.
You cast Ray of Frost, and the icicles shoot out, and you this instinctive maneuver to just kind of repel back whatever it was that was trying to get you. And then you watch as it escapes your hand, and then each one just kind of slowly forms and then stops centimeters before hitting the door. As you watch these points of ice just now pointing at where you were aiming.
You know, that's important to know. It's good to learn.
I feel like I couldn't have caught her, but Silas is going to go and help her up. Hey, the hell? What are you doing? What happened?
You didn't hear that?
Hear what? I heard you hitting the ground and shooting ice at nothing.
I heard the elder's voice. He should not have been here during this. This time when the time froze, I don't think he was good.
That is concerning. Why would he be here? Like, who would even have his voice here? What would bring him here?
It could have been bait. Same question as what brings vampires to Wormwatch.
Well, we kind of know that fuckery. Come on, get on your feet. Let's get back with everybody else.
Right. We will-
Let's see who catches up with Ivara first. If the four of you could just roll a d20 and we'll see highest one catches up to Ivara.
Ivara's like mother speed walking.
That's an 11.
15.
Holiday 16, Mirashana 11. Okay, so it's
Checks
going to be
out.
Holiday first with your rabbit quickness.
Boing, boing.
It's funny how you're positioned yourself like on your chair because it kind of looks like now you've got the rabbit ears on the top of your head.
Yeah, Holiday. I think his attention would first divert off to Mirashana, it being startled by something, and then in that quick realization, start scanning the entire group, seeing who's out of place, and seeing Ivara. That's when he'll rush up. Hey, lady. Where you
Ivara
going?
is just still walking, and she goes, "We really don't got time to waste right now. Are you gonna keep
Yeah.
up, or are you just gonna talk shit?"
Listen, Ivara, we gotta stick together. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. The last thing we need to do is get separated. Granted, the telepathic bond I established will help us stay centralized, but we can't afford losing one of our members now.
Ivara just she almost looks very irritated for a second. Like she clenches her jaw and she goes, "Last time I was not ahead of myself. I lost everything that I ever fucking had. So I'm gonna make sure that we're fucking ahead of this fucking problem and make sure it's fucking taken care of. We are right now on a very delicate line, and it could snap at any fucking moment. And if we fuck up once, or if we don't even fucking get this shit right the first time, or fast enough, we could lose everything."
We could lose everything before we even get started. If we start losing ourselves.
Ivara, like, again, looks irritated because she knows that he's right. And she just kind of scoffs a minute. Like, not really scoffs, but just like, and just looks, just kind of looks over at Holiday and just goes, "You got one of them smokes I can bum off of you."
Remind me, have you smoked before? At least around me, I don't recall that. But
Yeah,
sure.
she has. Their first encounter was
That's right. Yeah, when we're riding back.
Yeah.
What's his name's cart?
She's mainly known to smoke clove cigarettes, but she tries to,
Holiday rolls his own, but yeah, you'll see a quick little flourish of paper and tobacco, and he rolls you one real quick, seamlessly, and hands it to you.
Ivara takes it and she just places it between her lips, and you kind of see almost like a glow from her fingertips as she lightly casts Sacred Flame and lights it up. And she just takes a very deep drag, slowly letting the smoke just like repel from her nostrils, and she's just like, "Okay, I'll do my best to keep my head on right. Just as soon as I see that fucking undead bitch, I'm gonna make sure she wish she stayed dead."
I'm sure all of us will be happy to oblige that.
You hear a voice when you say that. Is that so? And rising from the body of a victim, perhaps the first one that happened, wiping her mouth clean, the blood smeared on her face, youth and vitality filling her veins. The body of the victim glitching, as it were, in this kind of state of undead, frozen in time, in the moment, and fading in and out of existence until ultimately it just shrivels up and is destroyed. the face of Eleanor Vitae, leader of the House Vol, the sovereign of resurrected vampiric forces that have invaded your town and caused all of this to happen. Her eyes glow with the same crimson color smeared on her face. She raises her hand and points to the oncoming horde that you saw in the distance. And now, Ivara, they are not frozen in time. They are coming towards all of you. And that's where we're going to end tonight's episode.
I fucking knew it was coming. Oh god.
So, anyways, I started blasting.
Smash. Smash is like smash is in smash, but also I want to smash that bitch's head in.
Thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of Frontiers of Eberron. We truly appreciated you tuning in, and we will see you in 2 weeks for an epic battle of proportions unknown. As what does a mixture of chaos magic do to the very standard abilities of these individuals? We'll find out.
Oh, God.
So thank you all for watching. Be sure to follow us on all the things at 2B Diced ADV. That's one word. And we will catch you next time when we ride again. We'll see ya.
Yeah.